Here's something that might make you rethink your morning routine. Every time you get out of bed, tie your shoes, or lift a grocery bag, you're putting stress on a structure that's quietly becoming more fragile with each passing day. After 40, a woman's bones start losing density faster than she can rebuild it. But here's the thing most women don't realize. This invisible decline is happening right now. And by the time symptoms show up, you could have already lost 20% of your bone mass. The statistics are pretty sobering. According to recent CDC data, 18.8% of women in the US have osteoporosis, compared to just 4.2% of men. But here's what's really eye-opening. 39% of women aged 70 to 79 years have low bone mass at some site, and that number jumps to 70% for women over 80. The question isn't whether your bones will change as you age. The question is what you're going to do about it starting today. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your bones right now. Think of your bones as a bustling construction site. Throughout your life, you have two teams of workers. One team breaks down old bone tissue and another builds new bone tissue. This process is called bone remodeling, and when you're young, the builders work faster than the demolition crew. But something shifts dramatically after 40, especially for women. Your peak bone mass happens around age 30. That's when your bones are at their strongest and densest. After that, the balance tips. The demolition crew starts working faster than the builders, and you begin losing about 1% of your bone mass every year. But for women, menopause changes everything. A woman can lose up to 20% of her bone density during the 5 to 7 years following menopause. That's because estrogen, which helps protect bones, drops dramatically during this time. Now you might be thinking, I feel fine, my bones seem strong. That's the tricky part about bone loss. Osteoporosis is often called a silent disease because it develops without obvious symptoms. You won't feel your bones getting weaker. The first sign might be a fracture from something as simple as a minor fall or even a strong sneeze. By then, significant damage has already been done. So what can you actually do about this? The good news is that you have more control over your bone health than you might think. Let's start with the foundation: nutrition. A calcium-rich diet is crucial for maintaining optimal bone health, and calcium enables our blood to clot, our muscles to contract, and our heart to beat. But here's what many women get wrong. It's not just about drinking more milk. Your body can only absorb about 500 milligrams of calcium at one time, so spreading your intake throughout the day is key. Women over 50 need about 1,200 milligrams of calcium daily.
Great sources include dairy products, but if you're lactose intolerant or don't eat dairy, don't worry. Leafy greens like kale and bok choy are excellent options. Canned sardines and salmon with bones are calcium powerhouses. Even almonds and tahini provide significant amounts. 1 cup of cooked collard greens has about 270 milligrams of calcium, which is more than you'll get from a glass of milk. But calcium alone isn't enough. Vitamin D helps the body absorb calcium to be deposited into bones, and adequate vitamin D and calcium intake is the cornerstone of osteoporosis prevention and treatment. Most women over 50 need about 800 to 1,000 international units of vitamin D daily. Your skin produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, but depending on where you live, your skin tone, and how much time you spend outdoors, you might not be getting enough. Fatty fish like salmon and mackerel are excellent food sources of vitamin D. Fortified foods like milk, cereals, and some plant-based milks also help. But many women find they need supplements to reach optimal levels. A simple blood test can tell you where you stand. Here's something that might surprise you. Prunes boost bone health according to a 2022 study. Research suggests that eating about 5 to 6 prunes daily can help prevent bone loss in postmenopausal women. The compounds in prunes seem to slow down bone breakdown while supporting bone formation. Now let's talk about exercise, because this is where things get really interesting. Not all exercise is equal when it comes to bone health. Your bones respond to stress by getting stronger, but they need the right kind of stress. Weight-bearing exercises, where your bones and muscles work against gravity, are what trigger bone building. Walking is great, but if you've been walking the same route at the same pace for years, your bones have adapted to that stress. To keep building bone, you need to challenge them. This could mean walking up hills, adding intervals where you pick up the pace, or incorporating light jogging if you're able. Strength training is absolutely crucial. When you lift weights or do resistance exercises, you're not just building muscle, you're sending signals to your bones to strengthen themselves at the points where muscles attach. Studies show that women who do resistance training 2 to 3 times a week can actually increase their bone density, not just slow its loss. The exercises don't have to be complicated. Squats, lunges, modified push-ups, and exercises with resistance bands can all be effective. The key is progressive overload, which means gradually increasing the challenge over time. If you're lifting 5-pound weights easily, your bones aren't getting the signal they need to adapt and strengthen.
Balance exercises might seem unrelated to bone health, but they're actually crucial. Most fractures happen because of falls, not because of weak bones alone. Tai Chi, yoga, or simple balance challenges like standing on one foot can significantly reduce your fall risk. Even something as simple as practicing standing up from a chair without using your hands can improve your stability and functional strength. But what about those factors you can't control? Family history plays a role. If your mother or grandmother had osteoporosis, your risk is higher. Being naturally small-framed or having low body weight also increases risk. Based on systematic research, low body weight and menopausal status are important risk factors for low bone density in healthy 40 to 60-year-old women. Certain medications can affect bone health too. Long-term use of corticosteroids, some antidepressants, and certain cancer treatments can accelerate bone loss. If you're taking these medications, it's especially important to focus on the factors you can control. Here's something crucial. When should you get tested? The standard recommendation is that all women should have a bone density scan, called a DEXA scan, by age 65. But you might need one earlier if you have risk factors like early menopause, family history, or if you've already had a fracture. The scan is quick, painless, and gives you a clear picture of your bone health. Your results will be reported as T-scores. A T-score of -1 or higher is normal. Between -1 and -2.5 indicates osteopenia, which is low bone mass but not quite osteoporosis. -2.5 or lower indicates osteoporosis. These numbers help your doctor determine if you need treatment beyond lifestyle changes. Speaking of treatment, there are medications available that can slow bone loss or even build new bone. These include bisphosphonates, which slow the bone demolition crew, and newer medications that actually stimulate bone building. The decision about medication depends on your individual risk factors and bone density scores. One thing that's encouraging, it's never too late to start protecting your bones. Even if you're already showing signs of bone loss, the right combination of nutrition, exercise, and possibly medication can make a significant difference. Women who start strength training in their 60s or 70s can still see improvements in bone density and significant reductions in fracture risk. Let me share some practical steps you can start implementing today. First, track your calcium intake for a few days to see where you stand. Many women are surprised to discover they're only getting about half of what they need. Second, if you're not already doing strength training, start with body weight exercises or light weights. Even 10 minutes twice a week is better than nothing. Third, get your vitamin D level checked.
This simple blood test can tell you if deficiency is sabotaging your bone health efforts. Fourth, pay attention to bone-robbing habits. Excessive alcohol, smoking, and consuming too much caffeine can all interfere with bone health.
The research continues to evolve, and scientists are discovering new ways to support bone health. Recent studies from institutions like Johns Hopkins and Harvard have shown that factors like protein intake, vitamin K, and even certain plant compounds can influence bone metabolism. The National Institute on Aging and the CDC continue to fund research that's helping us understand how to better protect bones throughout life. If you found this information helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to our channel. We regularly cover health topics that are especially relevant for women over 40, because having accurate, research-based information can truly make a difference in your long-term health. Remember, bone loss after 40 is inevitable, but significant bone loss doesn't have to be. With the right knowledge and consistent action, you can maintain strong, healthy bones for decades to come. Your future self will thank you for the steps you take today.